Let me show y'all how I fix this Springfield Model 128. I'm David with Death Proof Productions. Welcome to the show. Once again, it's for the hillbilly. And what we've got going on is having an issue with the bolt. See, now, it should close on its own. It's having to pull the trigger to get it in there. I'm gonna have to clean it too. You see how gummed up it is. But so I kind of have an idea what maybe it is, but we'll see. Let's get it apart and let's see what we got to do to get this thing fixed. Now, the first thing you want to do, and this is very important. I've said this in other videos, and I'll continue to say it in case somebody hadn't seen them other videos. But use the appropriate screwdrivers, actual gunsmithing screwdrivers. They're hollow ground, as you can see, and you'll notice that the difference in a mechanic or automotive, see how that's tapered? Well, the screws that these are used for, the slot is tapered as well. Gunsmithing screws are hollow ground like that. So to keep from burning up the threads, you always want to try to use the appropriate screwdriver. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this bottom screw off, break it loose. God, like he put that on with some pliers or something. See what we got going on. Okay. All right, so we've got, well, it's right there. See if I can get it where y'all can see it. I don't know. But if you'll notice, his spring, all right, this is the groove that the firing pin spring rides in before you bolt it over and pull it back. And you'll notice how that's sticking down in the groove a little bit, or below where the notch is. So it looks like at some point, y'all can see that, it looks like that's been welded on. And I'm thinking they didn't get the angle of the dangle right. That should have been a little bit further down. Go from there. All right. And the more I look at this, I'm thinking, you know, see, they welded that on, you know, and I don't know for what reason, but, you know, the sear engagement right here is pretty deep. Well, you got a pretty good, I'm thinking instead of having to groove that out a little bit more, I'm going to bend this spring a little bit, or try to, and I think I can actually grind off a little where the sear is right there. I don't think, maybe 20-30 thousandths may ought to do the trick, and I think that's going to fix it, you know. Not real sure. And more than likely, if you're watching this, you're not in this same situation, because this is kind of an oddity, unless you had came across one that's similar. But I think if I just go easy and bend that out just a scotch, I mean, the only thing we're shooting for, as long as there's tension on the spring for the trigger, I think we may have fixed it. Or close to it. It's almost, you see how it's just barely Let's check and see about the engagement. I'm gonna pull the striker back. See, we still got an enormous amount. Let's do a little bit more. And then I might grind off a little bit on the sear right there. If you ain't never bent springs before, you know you got to go past a little bit. Or maybe all I'm gonna get. I may have to just go ahead and grind on that a little bit. There's still a lot of engagement on it though. We'll go ahead and take a little bit off. I'm thinking I may want to try a file first before I get to the Dremel. If it was hardened, the file would skeeter across it. I don't think we're gonna have to take a whole hell of a lot. Put a slight bevel on there. If it's just slightly touching, might help with the, just pop it up over. And it's got a little bit of a taper going up this way to it. And when that bolt, when you go to put it in, that bolt kind of gonna ride along this side. You know, when you go to close the bolt. So I want to kind of work that, try to work that back flat. And be careful not to let the end of your file score the inside of the bolt rail there. You know, the key is we can take off, you know, where the sear is on the spring until, I mean, all we got to worry about is that when we pull the striker back, we still got plenty of engagement for the firing pin. Now, when you're working on the old guns like this, and this is what I found out, I don't know if it's for, you know, everybody's going through this kind of thing, but you don't know what somebody else has done through the years. And sometimes you have to be creative, you know, and as long as you can get the gun firing and it's, you know, still safe and you've repaired it, then you've accomplished your job. You get it back to your customer and he, you know, he's back to doing what, you know, he wants to do with it. You know, whether it be just a family heirloom or they hunt with it. You know, you got to stop and think, this is almost, what, 80 to 100-year-old gun. They were made back in the early 1900s, I think, up to the 40s, 47, something like that. You can Google it, but, you know, so in the lifespan of a gun or anything, you know, like I restore antique motorcycles, and I mean, you got a 100-year-old bike or a 100-year-old gun. You got 100 years of different people with different skill levels and different technology modifying and repairing it, you know, to what they know how to do. And so you have to just think outside the box sometimes. At least I have, over, oh Lord, 26 years of doing this on bikes and guns and stuff. Let's try that. Now, one of the things I'm going to do for him, which I already hit it a lick with the file, just checking it out, is the screw for the forestock that holds the barrel in. Looks like it's been tightened up with a pipe wrench. It was boogered up pretty good. And so we are going to, just to be nice, and I like to do stuff right, we're gonna clean the sides up, get all the boogers and everything, and we're gonna re-knurl the outside of it. And or actually, I don't know if it was knurled from the factory, but we're gonna knurl it just because I want to. So let's do it. I'm just using a file instead of using my cutting tool on my compound rest over there. Really, I'm doing that to, if you don't have a lathe, you could take a drill and chuck it up exactly like I have it, and you can make progress real fast on this kind of thing just with a file. Just doing it the way I'm showing you. Of course, you know, the cutting tool will be faster, but this works just good. I mean, just as good. I got my knurling tool and my my rest, and we're just gonna start. Now I've got it knurled. I'm gonna take a real skinny file and just turn the lathe on, and I'll work the boogers off the back. Alright, so what we're going to do, now we've finished the knurling and redoing the forearm screw for the barrel, and we're going to go ahead and niter salt blue it. And what this is, you know, it's a heat bluing process. The niter salts allows it to be an even temperature, and your temperature, it affects the different colors that you can draw out on the steel, in which the colors that you're bringing out, technically you're bringing the ferric oxide that's inside the steel out to the surface, which causes the colors. Now we're shooting, I got the pyrometer right now set at 470, or the temperature, we're at 472, and that's the color that I'm shooting for. The reason I do it this way, this is a lot better. It's not near as durable of a finish as, you know, your hot bluing salts, caustic bluing salts process, which y'all seen me do that from time, you know, on some other projects. But it's a heck of a lot better, and you can make it prettier than cold bluing. Cold bluing ain't worth a cup of cold piss, to be honest with you. So if you can get yourself some niter salts, it ain't nothing but sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate, and you melt it into a liquid, and you're able to control the temp. You get an even temperature. You could do this with a torch and heat it evenly. It accomplishes the same thing, but you can't control the color exactly where you want it quite as easy. You can get it, but it takes some, it's hit or miss. So let's go ahead and put it in here, let it come up to temperature and do its thing, and we'll check it out. We're 400, we're starting to get a little bit of straw color. That's good. Believe it or not, if you're tempering steel, knives or whatever, and you can't afford, I mean I got this from Brownells and niter salts, and it's not that expensive, but you could actually go to a farm supply and get some sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate, mix it up about 50-50 mix, use it the same way. Alright, let's go ahead and get it out. We'll get the salts off of it, get it cleaned up, cooled off. Now y'all may notice behind me is my parts for my 1950 Harley Davidson panhead that I'm in the process of restoring. And if y'all like that kind of thing, I'm going to make a video about it. Hit the subscribe button, and when I put, because that's what I do, I restore bikes. That's number one. And restoring old firearms and building guns is number two. And anyway, if you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. You can follow along. You'll get the notifications for when I'm working on it. But anyway, I think it turned out pretty good. We'll get a close-up picture of it. But all right, let's go put it together. Now, one thing I use, like I said, we're cleaning it up. I use this LPS, excuse me, LPS TKX I have access to it, so I use it. It works great. It works great as water displacement oil and solvent for cleaning it. But I mean, there's lots of other good brands out there, but it doesn't have to be something that is just on the label. It says gun cleaning, whatever the hell, you know. I'm just gonna clean this up real good. Now it's got across the entire gun, it's got a real even, you know, it's a patina is what it is, but because it's even, it's like a barrel browning. And see, when you brown a barrel, you can convert it to slow rust bluing. I mean, you just throw it in boiling water, boil it for a little bit, and it converts it to you know, black oxide. And so he's wanting me to do that. Now, I know some people would say, hey, leave the patina on there. Some people, this is what I say, whatever he wants, it's his gun, he can have it. And so that's what he wants. Anyway, I'll tell you one thing that I like to use, these little TIG brushes. I got a ton of them. They're great. They can get into real tight spots. They work better than a lot of other, what you'd say, designated gun cleaning. You know, it's kind of like a toothbrush. You know, the military, or at least when my father was in, you know, to clean his M14, they use toothbrushes. And they work great too, but if you can get a hold of those, you can go to your welding supply store, and or if you know a welder, he can hook you up. Alright, so that's how I fixed it. She's working good now. And, you know, the bluing, you know, the polished up, I was really surprised that it, you know, that essentially hand done browning or whatever, you know, it converted pretty good. You know, it went from being looking like it was browned to, you know, pretty close to bluish black. And this cleaned up real nice. I like it. And anyway, I'm in here and we'll get me a beer. I'll see you on the next video.